My name is Mark Salvatos. Currently, we are installing Trax. It's a group exhibition facilitated by Flex. And Flex is a talking game developed by Loda Dito. And during the pandemic, this Flex game tries to initiate conversation with the artists who are involved in this group show. And we had several Zoom meetings during this time, and we developed this exhibition by conversations, random conversation through this game. And Trax is the title of the show, which means also steps or movement, and it's also about traces or something that you left behind, but it's also something that points you toward different directions. So I have 3 projects or series of artworks that is part of this show, and the words that I got from Flex game was demarcation. And also, I think repetition, and it's actually a random series of words that is collected through these conversations. So I come up with 3 projects that I'm already doing, and I presented some new and old works also. So one maybe is codes, and it's a series of maps that I collected throughout the years, wherein I erase all this information in the maps, because maps is always changing also. And another project that I'm showing here is Boy Agimat Act series. And as my background in street art, it talks also about movement, tracks, and also remnants, and also the decay of the city or something like that. But it's not only about the seriousness of the frustration that I see in the city, but also some kind of humor or a joke in it. And actually, another word that came through our conversation was also humor. So I think this is interesting practice or process wherein we kind of develop new language by randomly conversing with other words. So, and also another project is a series of paintings called Scratching series, and it's basically talks about the surfaces and then the different textures of maybe the city, and also about landscape, and also about the land.
Hello, I'm Zeus Bascon. Nag-start kami maaga, around siguro mga September, that was September, na nagkaroon kami ng mga meetings online para inopen sa amin ni Mark yung Flex game at kung paano yung magiging mechanics namin sa pagbuo nitong exhibitions. Interesting para sa akin yung flow na nangyari from one artist to the next. Kasi ang interested dun, parang immediate din yung response ng bawat artist parang during that time. Unang naging approach ko for this exhibition, dahil mahirap sa akin na mag-produce ngayon ng bagong work, is to exercise pag-recontextualize ng old pieces. And for this specific piece, title niya is Sitka, pinroduce ko siya talaga to collect journal entries from visitors. Kukolekta ako ng mga tarpaulin. Tapos, nag-start yun 2014 sa isang residency sa Pogoneso, Japan, na nanghingi ako ng mga tarpaulins, tapos pinaplot ko sila sa tarp, then I cut them. Pinagkatan ko, ginagawa ko rin siyang isa pang artwork. So, nakahanap ako ng way para maging matipid at maging form yung production as exercise or warm up, and at the same time, kumbaga makagawa pa ng masigit pa sa isang work. Magkaroon siya ng ganun sa aking purpose sa practice ko. Tapos ngayon meron akong existing na around 600 to 700 na dead masks. Tapos meron pa akong unpainted na almost the same number na rin.
I am Marlon Hapla. During the flex game, basically focus ako dun sa word na repetition, no? Since yun yung naging struggle ko, how to be at ease with repetition. Then sa art process, so earlier this year, I created an AI machine named Amor Solobot. So the original intention was for the machine to create Amor Solo-like artworks, but it turned out hindi ganun yung nilabas niya. And so I went on with the bot's inclinations, no? Yung images that are surreal, ghostly, parang verges on the abstract. And for this exhibition, one set of works is are these portraits which I collaborated with Ash Paveliano. So I selected 8 portraits from about more than 500, and I collaborated with Ash Paveliano to render these portraits in watercolor. So this piece is called Tatlong Daang Lumbay ni Violeta Cervana. Basically, the AI's variation on single portrait. So what I love about this work is, ayun, sumusubok talaga yung AI machine to do variation. So meron na siya ditong parang sobrang abstract na, whereas may iba naman na defined pa yung mukha. Yung iba nagme-melt na yung nose, eyes, and other facial features.
So we did this game called the Flex game, and we come up with words. The words that I used is repetition, which you can see in the collages that I made. There's a repetition in the images and the shapes and forms. Also the word evidence. With these collages that I made, I used photo scraps. So it's old photographs, because I make collages, and these are the scraps that you don't that you just throw away. But during this quarantine, I try to make use of available materials that I have, and so I saved up all the photo scraps that I have, and also the word that we use in the Flex game is evidence. So these are sort of like evidence, pieces of evidence made during this quarantine. This series is called Quarantininings. I call it Quarantininings because all of these artworks I made during quarantine. And I thought of using materials that I have around me, which are old paintings that I did, and then I cut it up and formed these collages. And photographs that I shot myself during my travel. And since during this time we cannot really go out and we have to stay home, so these are like evidences or memories of life before the quarantine. The process that I did for this exhibition, it was not necessarily made for the exhibition. What I did was I just used this time to create. And so what I did was I got a bag of photos, old photos, and I got my old paintings. I call them paintings, play paintings, because I'm not really a painter, so I don't dare call it paintings. So these are paintings that I did, and then I used the photo scraps and turned it into a collage. What I did with the photo scraps, I just let it be. You know, like you don't. I try to create stories out of the materials that I have lying around, and so these are the stories that I came up with. And during our Zoom meetings, these words, evidence, forms, repetition, I feel reflects in the artworks that I made.
Ako si Likha Camacho, kasalukuyang walang permanenteng tirahan, pero lumaki ako sa Pampanga at Baguio. So mula sa Flex, yung mga salitang naaalala at tumatak sa isipan ko ay yung mga salitang tao, collective, struggle, at object. Mula doon ay humugot ako at may naalalang tula na sinulat ni Pete Lacava noong martial law na pinamagatang ang mga walang pangalan. So, inspired doon yung buong installation na ginawa ko. Ang title nito ay Para sa Mga Walang Pangalan. So, gumawa ko ng iba't ibang objects. So, ang ginawa ko ay gumamit ako ng iba't ibang found woods at pinagdikit-dikit ko sila at pinagsama-sama. Dahil sa kasalukuyang sitwasyon natin ng COVID ay yung proseso ay sobrang iba kung saan ang exchange ko lamang ay ang carver mula sa Pampanga at sa Bataan, kung saan nag-uusap kami through messenger. So sinisendan niya ako ng mga litrato, ng mga patapon na kahoy, at doon ay pumipili ako ng mga kahoy, iginuguhit ko yung forma na gusto ko at siya mismo yung nagdidikit. Hindi ko nakita yung trabaho hanggang dumating sila sa akin dito sa Maynila. So, ganong proseso na kailangan mag-adjust dahil sa sapilitan na sitwasyon natin ngayong COVID lockdown. I guess ito ay isang connection na rin sa kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng trabaho or ano yung gusto kong mapag-usapan. Ang Para sa Mga Walang Pangalan na instalasyon ay dedicated sa lahat ng naging biktima ng EJK, ng COVID, mga namatay or kahit hindi namatay dahil sa COVID, pero nagiging numero na lamang sila at wala silang pangalan. Itong mga walang pangalan nito ay ang bumubuo ng puwersa na paglaban sa kung anumang nararanasan natin ngayon. So ito ay alay para sa kanila. Ang Para sa Mga Walang Pangalan ay alay ko para sa mga taong ito at patuloy natin para makamit natin ang kalayaan.
Ako si Jerome Soriano. Bali, parte ako ng show na tracks na ginamit namin yung larong Flex. So saan nagdudugtong kami ng mga words base sa sinabi ng isa't isa. Tapos ito yung mga words na para saan nag-reflect din sa mga trabahong ginawa ko para sa show. Collective, trick, comfort, struggle. Tapos ito yung mga words na ginawa ko para sa show. Mga ano siya, tensegrity, tension, integrity, structures na gawa sa mga gamit sa bahay na ginamit talaga namin na may memory siya para sa akin, may buhay siya para sa akin. Tapos bali ano siya nakakatuwa siyang trick kasi lumulutang yung nasa taas pero hindi sila nagdidikit. sa solid na paraan. Yung mga strings lang yung nagbibigay sa kanila ng stability.
Hi, I am Eva Yu, and I work with watercolors and ink. And usually, most of them are on paper. And this is the work I presented for the group show. It's a zine, and then in this form, it is presented in sequence. So this is the proper sequence. But I also decided to put it in an installation in order to engage the viewer so you can approach it in different ways, not exactly from the beginning to the end.